You guys love it.
I always see them try.
Or they try. We're always trying. Well, that's the thing. Part of the
Yeah, but they did.
They did take a picture.
They did. I did it. Why do it?
the other people, they're all here. No, you can go up farther up front so people don't go. There you go. There you go. Follow. Be a follower. I wish that was funny. This is speaking reality. You want to go up there? No, I will. Oh yeah, good observation, bud. With Dad though, baby Dad.
Oh my God, see the sponsor by Kellogg.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Welcome. I can't tell you how incredible it is to be an organic farmer's daughter and to see all of you, especially the moms and the kids. It's going to be rough for me to get through this without crying and without just falling down with so much joy and gratitude for being here with you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for standing in solidarity with some of my best friends here. Food Babe. You're gonna get to hear from all of these incredible speakers today. I'm gonna be your MC, and what I want from you is just the highest vibes possible. Can we all do that? Because your energy, your voice matters. I'm an empowerment coach, and I'm here to empower you to amplify every message that matters to you. Your voice matters. And what you might not know about Vonnie, her name means voice. Okay? And she's here to speak on your behalf, but do not think that your voice doesn't matter, okay? Yeah? You with me? So one of the things I learned, because I was born into this food movement, is that a lot of times we think our voice doesn't matter. A lot of times we think, oh, it's never gonna change. Who feels that way sometimes? Like, it's never gonna change, they're not doing anything in the government. You know, these food companies don't care about us. And I'm here to dispel that. I can tell you with proof that since I've been a little girl, we've been changing companies, not as fast as I would like. And it probably won't even happen in my lifetime unless we have people like you that show up to things like this. We can't do it alone. We have to be in solidarity. We have to be together. We are the United States, after all. Let's unite. I know that it's political season and they want you to pick a side. This is about food. We all eat food. Am I right? So we all want good food. Am I right? Okay, so this isn't politics. Right now, it's nourishment. Okay? Right now, there's predatory things happening in our food system. And who are they attacking? Not just your kids. Not just your kids. What's it like being a mom? I'm a mom. I can tell you, 2 nights ago I decided to come to this, to stand with my brothers and sisters here who are fighting the good fight. And I asked my daughter, I said, because I don't buy Fruit Loops, right? It's not in my house. However, I said, have you ever had Fruit Loops? And she said to me, yeah. And you know, we have an organic household. It's a privilege I fight for every single day, and I grow my own food. So when she said yeah, I was like, oh, you know, it hit me right in the heart, in the gut. How many times? Once. I was like, where did you eat this food? At camp. And I said, at camp? They fed you that at camp? Do you know how much I paid for that camp? Right, moms, right?
Yep.
So then she says, yeah, they didn't have a vegetarian option. They gave me Fruit Loops for 7 days.
Oh.
Fruit Loops. Not the Fruit Loops that you can get 2 hours from here. Not that Fruit Loops. It was American Fruit Loops. What's wrong with American Fruit Loops? Dyes and BHT.
Right.
Okay, so even if you are not buying this product, your voice makes a difference here today. Kellogg's, do you hear me?
Yes.
We want to talk with you. Are you going to rise to the challenge? Are you going to meet us? What do you guys think? So getting back to me being a little girl, going on these farm tours, being with my dad, the organic gangster that he was, going to Nike, going to Patagonia, getting them to switch to organic cotton. I was a little kid. And he used to say to these executives, you know what? We can fix this. Hand over the table, shaking hands, getting them to work with him. We can fix this. So if you're on live stream right now, we are on TikTok, we are on Instagram, we have like a worldwide movement happening right now. And the message is, we can fix this. Can you guys say it with me on the count of 3? I want it in the chats. I want you amplifying this message. We can fix this. Your voice matters. So let's do it on 3. 1, 2, 3. We can fix this. We're gonna get going. I'm gonna be quiet, and we have some special guests here today that are not on the program, but we have all of these guests. We are gonna be quick and fast. If you guys have questions, save it to the end. We are gonna try to go through this quick so we can march over to Kellogg's and do what? Fix this.
Yes.
Okay, so right now we have some special guests. They're gonna come over. They're gonna tell you a little bit that you might not know is happening behind the scenes. And it's a special surprise, it's a special guest. And please keep your energy up. I'm here for you. Let's do this.
Hi everybody, great to fellowship with you all this brisk morning. We are a few state legislators. I know we have a couple in the crowd as well. I want to make note, on a personal quick note, about 15 years ago I went to Spain to study Spanish, and I came back healthier than I'd ever been, and I didn't really change anything. All I changed was what I was eating. And my mom, she was like, it's from the food. And I didn't really believe her at the time, because my mom, you know, she's a health nut. She's all about whatever I'm eating, saying whatever I'm eating is bad when I want frozen pizzas and Fruit Loops. And she told me this, and I started thinking about it until the last couple of years I downloaded an app, and now I scan every single barcode before I go buy anything at the grocery store. And if you've ever done that with the Yuka app, you'll notice whole big red markers saying bling, 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 hazardous for your health, causes cancer, ADHD. And in Michigan here, we had a very significant event happen a couple of years ago with our water. And if you know that lead in the water is toxic, that's a huge problem, and a lot of legislators are all about that problem, which is great. But food is just as important as water. And if we have toxic materials in our foods, then that is a significant problem as well, especially when we have foods that are targeted to our young people. And so this is something that I want to make a quick note that politically, some of these companies write some really big campaign checks to keep people quiet. So the legislators that are here today, I have a lot of respect for, because campaigning takes a lot of money, and some of these folks, when the juice gets cut off from these big companies to get you to stop asking questions, it takes a lot of courage. And so these guys that are here today, I'm very grateful to be able to stand with them, very grateful to be able to stand with you all, because this is such an important cause. And all the writing that are on these 400,000 petitions, the writing's on the wall for Kellogg's as well. And I'm not one who's always about, hey, government intervention is necessary, but when it comes to health and food, it's a big cause. So if they don't hear us today, if they don't respond to these inquiries that we have about the chemicals and the hazardous materials in their food, then government intervention might be necessary, because when we look at other countries and states that have banned these things, it was because of government intervention, which has forced them to use natural flavorings and colorings in their foods. And so Senator Lindsay is here. He already has legislation drafted. I'd like to him to speak to that for a moment, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Representative Paquette. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you to the organizers for, at the last minute, letting me join and speak to the crowd. I'm Senator Jonathan Lindsay. I serve the 17th District, which includes a little bit of Calhoun County where we are, but not exactly where we are right now. My favorite thing about this issue is that it's really not political. We do so much in Lansing. I'm a Republican, where it's Democrats and Republicans fighting all the time. About a month ago, I went out and requested through our drafting service a draft of a piece of legislation that would simply say that if we're going to fund public schools, we're going to take your tax dollars and put them into our public schools, couldn't we at least say that in those schools our children cannot be served food that contains these dyes and a certain list of other toxic chemicals. And when I put that request in, I got a notice back from the drafting service saying, be aware, although it's not been introduced yet, there is another legislator who has asked for a similar piece of legislation, and they're on the other side of the aisle from me. Right? How awesome is that? How awesome is that? So we reached out, and this is like inside baseball, but the drafting service says, do you want us to let them know who you are? I said, by all means, let them know who I am. And then we started what I think has been so far a productive conversation. A Republican, a Democrat, we've got Republicans here, but I know there are people on the other side of the aisle who care just as deeply about this because they have children, they are families. They are also tired of having to answer this question, what is so wrong with our health in America? Why do we have so much chronic illness and disease? So we've got so many good speakers. I'm going to shut up, but I just want to highlight what is so exciting about this movement and what's going on is we can set the politics aside and we can do things that are good for all of us here in Michigan and all the people across the United States of America. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for the organizers. I hope you see action.
Yeah, I'm Steve Carr, State Representative, District 36, Southwest Michigan. And I just want to say, like Senator Lindsay is saying here, there are principled people on both sides of the aisle. And there is one who's from far left, Bernie Sanders bro type of guy. We disagree on so many things. When it comes to corruption and corporate elitism, whether it's Kellogg or Pfizer or these big special interest groups who they don't want freedom. They want their special deals. They want regulations that crowd out their competitors. They want a tax break that everybody else doesn't get. They want central planning that takes from you and gives to the rich. That's not freedom. We need to identify freedom, fight for freedom, have our allies on both sides of the aisle, and recognize that the status quo politics and status quo politicians on both sides of the aisle have been the problem. Look to yourselves for the answers, not towards government. You have a few, but we need more. And it's an honor to stand up here with people like Food Babes, the Means family. We've got Callie here today. What they've done to expose this system has been awesome, and we need to continue to rally around them and fight this fight. Thank you, everybody.
All right, we have an amazing update for you. We have 417,305 signatures. But do we want more? Yes. So right now, get out your phones, tag people in this live, tell people their voice matters. If you're watching us on the live stream, please sign the petition. Just go to foodbabe.com. It will come up, and we will also put it in the chat and pin it in the chat on Instagram and TikTok. Okay, so we're gonna get into our speakers. Everybody's still energy up, energy up. Okay, so our first speaker today is Max Goldberg. He has been called an organic sensation by the New York Times and named as one of the nation's leading organic food experts by Shape Magazine. Max Goldberg is the founder of Organic Insider, the most influential newsletter in the industry today. Give it up for Max.
Thank you so much for being here today. It's awesome to see you all. About a decade ago, Bonnie and I put on GMO labeling fundraisers around the country, and it is awesome to be back up on stage with her again, fighting for justice in our food system. When Bonnie asked me if I wanted to speak, I said that there was only one thing I wanted to talk about, and it's something organic related, but it is mirroring exactly what is going on here today. But I want to begin with a quote. Disease is cured by the body itself, not by doctors or remedies. And you know who said that? You know who said that? The cereal icon himself, John Harvey Kellogg, who died right here in Battle Creek in 1943, approximately 80 years ago. Could the irony be any greater?
Right.
But John Harvey Kellogg understood that the body is a system. And when you think of organic, organic is way more than no GMOs. Organic is way more than no super toxic pesticides like glyphosate.
Right.
Organic is a complex and beautiful system of growing food. And this system relies on many, many participants to nourish our bodies and keep us healthy. And when you think that you can remove a few parts of this system and duplicate the end result of that whole system, you cannot. Yet this is exactly what is happening in the organic food industry today with its allowance of hydroponics, growing plants in water and drip feeding them liquid nutrition. And hydroponics forgoes the most important element of this organic system, the soil. The Organic Foods Production Act of 1990, as ratified by Congress, says that farmers must have a management plan that fosters soil fertility. But the USDA is allowing hydroponics in organic, even though it completely violates the law. So why am I telling you all of this? Because just like American kids have Kellogg cereals with all these artificial ingredients and colors, but kids in other countries don't, the same shenanigans are going on with hydroponics and organic. Hydroponics is not allowed in the EU, it's not allowed in Mexico, Japan, Canada, nowhere else, just here. Hydroponics in organic is decimating the livelihood of small organic farmers around the country who grow in the soil, and they are forced to compete on an unlevel playing field against farmers who are not fostering soil fertility. And consumers, you, us, we are losing choice at the supermarket. Our ability, and you probably don't even know it, most people probably don't even know it, finding soil-grown organic blueberries, tomatoes is becoming increasingly more difficult by the day. And there may come a day when our kids or our grandchildren have no choice. And the only thing that's available are hydroponically grown organic blueberries, tomatoes, and they're coming after peppers, greens, and other vegetables. The time has come when we must hold these corporations accountable for selling things to American consumers that are not allowed elsewhere. We have put up with it for far too long. But we need to think much bigger if we truly want to save the health of our country. And today must be the start of a movement where food companies realize that the game is up. And that there are going to be major repercussions for shortchanging the American consumer. And that quote from John Harvey Kellogg, "Disease is cured by the body itself, not by doctors or remedies," needs to be our North Star. It should help guide which politicians we elect into Congress, and it should be dictating which companies we financially support and avoid every single day at the supermarket. Thank you.
Give it up for Max. Give it up. Next up, we have Dr. Josh Axe. Dr. Josh Axe is a New York Times best-selling author and founder of draxe.com, Ancient Nutrition, and the Dr. Josh Axe Show podcast. Ready? You ready for this?
Awesome. It's so great to see everybody here today. Thanks so much for showing up. This means the world to us. It means the world to, I know, so many kids out there. And, you know, and today, I'm so honored to be among so many health leaders here in this industry. You can't hear me?
There we go.
Oh, you know what? This is a little short for me. Let me see if I can get this a little. I think so. I'll just hold it. Is that? Okay, there we go. So it's great to be here. You know, this is something that's very near and dear to my heart because I was a child growing up that was diagnosed with ADHD. I can remember being brought into a doctor's office when I was a kid and having the doctor talk about me like I wasn't in the room with my parents and them telling me, your son has a learning disability in ADHD. And every morning throughout elementary school and high school, I would pop open the cereal box of Fruit Loops and Corn Pops and Frosted Flakes, and that's what I would have for breakfast. I barely graduated high school. I graduated with a 2.0 GPA because I had such a difficult time learning in school with ADHD. Finally, when I got to college, I started learning about health and nutrition. And I decided I was going to start eating real food for breakfast. You know what happened? I went from getting a 2.0 to a 3.0 to later on earning my doctorate and graduating from Johns Hopkins with nearly a 4.0 GPA. The reason I share that is, you know how many kids are out there today that are eating this toxic cereal and it's keeping them from reaching their full potential in life. There are so many studies now proving, actually there were 16 studies I read alone in the past few weeks that have demonstrated that consuming food dyes in BHT is linked to ADHD, allergies, asthma, gastrointestinal issues, eczema, and learning disabilities in children. And there's no reason whatsoever they should be left in our food supply today. In the past 50 years alone, ADHD has grown from 6% to nearly 12%. And food dye consumption, we consume around 17 million pounds of food dyes per year. That's a 400% increase in the past 20 years alone. And so we know that these chemicals should be banned. And here's the other thing we know. I wanted to print out this graphic to show you. This is just a list of a few of the chemicals that are banned in the European Union, like Italy, France, and the UK. They're banned in Australia, they're banned in Canada, they're banned in Israel, and they're not banned in our country. And you know what? It shows our country today ranks 40th in overall health and mortality compared to other developed nations. And that list of 40 includes 40 countries. We're last. We're dead last in the United States. And so we need to make some changes, and removing these food dyes, removing BHT that have been linked to all of these disorders will make a big, big difference. And so, no, I just want to say again, your voice matters. Sharing this, going out there and boycotting and not consuming these chemically laden cereals will make a big, big difference. And Kellogg's, we're asking you and pleading with you to do something very simple that you already do in literally every other country in the world, and remove the food dyes now.
Yes. So we have to do it a bunch of different ways, right? So if not everybody knows about this, it's your job right now, being here, to amplify this message. So please, please, if you're filming, if you tag people, let's get this message out there. It's a numbers game. It really, really is. These companies will change with numbers. So we need you to amplify this message. Thank you again for being here, keeping the energy up. Next up is Alex Clark. She is host of one of the top wellness charting podcasts, Culture Apothecary, where each of her guests provides a remedy to heal a sick culture.
I'm not as tall as you, Dr. Axe, sorry. Thank you so much for being here. I just want to tell you one thing, and that is that the chronic disease curse of the next generation of children ends with American moms, the ones that are here today, the ones that are watching. I am so encouraged by all of you, and it really is the American mom on average who is the one making those choices in the grocery store, right? And so if Kellogg's, hopefully they will listen to us today and they will hear our voices, but if they don't, we are so committed to bankrupting them into oblivion. You guys are dealing with so many things on a day-to-day basis when it comes to being a parent, and worrying about poison in your children's food should never be one of them in the United States of America. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Let's do this!
I wanted more of that. Who was ready for more of that? I was like, oh, she's done? Okay. So, thank you. That was amazing. So, next up we have Dr. Stacy Whitman. She is a triple board certified functional and integrative pediatric dentist and the founder of FIG, which stands for Feed Your Good Guys, oral microbiome supportive oral healthcare products. She's also the co-founder of the Institute for Functional Dentistry, launching in 2025. Where dentists will train to take a whole body and root cause approach to oral health.
Thank you all. I love all the kids here. We are here for you. So when I decided to become a children's dentist, I had no idea that I was signing up for a career where I was going to go to battle against big food giants like Kellogg's every day. This isn't a war that makes headlines, but is one that touches every life of every American child and every citizen. Cavities are the #1 chronic disease in children, and it's products like those made by Kellogg's with their cleverly engineered, addictive, and nutritionally bankrupt ingredients that keep dentists like me in business. But why should we care? They're just cavities, right? Common does not mean normal. Cavities are not just holes in teeth, they're symptoms of malnutrition, mineral and vitamin deficiencies, dysbiotic bacteria, and infection. And if untreated, they lead to severe pain, abscessing, missed school and work days, diminished self-esteem, emergency room visits, and tragically, even death. Statistically, 90% of you here have had a cavity, and over half of our kids will suffer from them. And this is a preventable disease, yet somehow we've normalized it. Fun fact, humans did not commonly suffer from cavities until the invention of processed and ultra-processed foods like Kellogg's cereals. We are the only species on this planet, aside from our domesticated pets, also due to their food, that suffer from this disease. And this is where I might get emotional. Every year, over 100,000 children undergo sedation and general anesthesia for dental procedures that could have been prevented. Anesthesia can have significant risks. So why is this happening? It's because our food system is broken. I dream of a world without cavities. I know I'm a dentist and I'm not supposed to say that, but it is genuine.
Yeah.
I am tired of putting babies to sleep and filling and crowning and extracting their teeth because of our flawed and corrupt food system. Here today, let's pledge to protect our future and our children. Kellogg's, I know you have kids. I know you have grandchildren. Please be on the right side of history here.
Right.
How many of the children in your lives have endured the shame of dental fillings or the fear a parent must face when their child has to undergo anesthesia for something that you created? Imagine the precedent you could set. You'd become an industry leader. Shockwaves throughout the food world. You would become a hero instead of the villain. Your kids will be proud of you, Kellogg's. This is the first step in returning health back to all of our children. Kellogg's, please do the right thing and help me stop the cavity epidemic one spoonful at a time. Health starts in the mouth.
Thank you. So, getting back to the moms, we're the ones that have to deal with that when our kid goes to the dentist, right? So I really just want to say thank you, moms, for being here. Thank you, kids, for being here. If a couple of you kids want to come up, and moms are okay with this, with your permission, if they want to come up and share your signs, you guys can sit up here with us. We're in solidarity with you. We can't do this without you. We're doing this so that you don't have to have this in your generation. Hopefully you will come to the park. You will come to the park and you will play. You won't come to the park for a rally, okay? So come up here with us if you want. And no pressure, but I need my kids. Okay, next up we have Dr. Joel Warsh. He is an integrative pediatrician in Los Angeles and the author of Parenting at Your Child's Place. You probably know him on Instagram as Dr. Joel Gator. As the kids come up, please give your attention to them. Can we get a round of applause for these kids? This is why we're here, okay? If this doesn't hit you in the gut, wake up. Wake up, Kellogg's. We need you to let us in. Can we get a let us in from the kids?
Let us in!
And this is how we do it. Type in the chat, we can fix this, and let us in. We are gonna bring up Dr. Joel Walsh.
Thank you, Vani, for organizing this incredible event, and thank you all for standing up for our kids today, all you guys. Thank you guys for being here. This is amazing to see so many kids here. I'm so deeply encouraged by this collective movement towards health, uniting across political divides to demand real change. As both a parent and a pediatrician, my greatest hope is for our children to grow up healthy, happy, and full of life. But the truth is that we're facing a crisis. Our kids are getting sicker and sicker, and it's time to address this head on. Oh, sorry. Put up that better? 50% of our children now suffer from a chronic disease. 1 in 3 children are diabetic or pre-diabetic. Obesity is at an all-time high. When I was born, 0 states had a 20% obesity rate. Now every single state has at least a 20% obesity rate. Puberty is starting so young. In girls, it can start as young as 8 to 9. That used to be 12 or 13. Autism rates when I was born, 1 in 2,500. Now it's 1 in 36 or 1 in 22 in California, where I am. And that's just a small subset of the neurodevelopmental disorders, which is now 1 in 6. The media and the medical establishment seem to want you to believe that these changes are normal. It's just genetics. We're just better at diagnosis. Well, I'm here to tell you that that is BS. We all have eyes. I have eyes. We see what's going on out there. It's the toxins. It's our environment. It's our food. I know this is a bit controversial, but I'm saying it anyways because it needs to be said. It is the constant barrage of toxins and chemicals that are the main contributors to the rising chronic disease epidemic in kids, period. If we want to see a change, we have to be honest with ourselves. The truth is that medicine is no longer in control of our health. Big corporations are. Over the last 50 years, some of these companies have grown so large that they're basically running the organizations that should be protecting us. A recent Harvard study report showed that an estimated 10,000 food additives are approved in the US when only around 400 are approved in Europe. Most of these 10,000 potentially toxic chemicals in our food supply are approved by the food companies themselves, not the FDA. That has to change. When asked about this, the FDA commissioner said, oh, it's just partly due to cultural differences. Well, hopefully together here, we're gonna change that culture. All these people are gonna change that culture. We cannot accept that anymore. Right now, we're just saying, oh, just a little BPA, I guess that's okay. Just a little glyphosate, I guess that's all right. Aluminum, little bit, cadmium, thimerosal, lead, mercury, little phthalates, a little bit of forever chemicals, I guess that's okay. It's just a little artificial dye, just a little BHT, I guess that's okay. I want to say very clearly as a medical doctor, but more importantly as a father, artificial dyes and BHT in our children's food are not okay. Dyes are linked to behavioral problems like hyperactivity and inattention in sensitive children, allergies, immune system dysfunction, hormone dysregulation, and even tumors. There's so many studies that show this at this point. In Europe, these dyes require a label, but not here. When I am talking about this topic, some people love to push back. They say, do we really need more regulation? The FDA says these ingredients are harmless in small amounts. I would respond to that. Has the FDA or anyone completed a long-term study showing the cumulative effects of these small exposures? How can anybody claim that when you look around and you see what's going on? To me, all I see are the skyrocketing health concerns that clearly suggest the opposite. New chemicals should be proven safe before they're allowed into our food system, not after years of battling the damage they cause. To finish, I want to bring the focus back to today. We are doing what matters deeply here today. We're standing up for all of these kids' health, and all of these kids here are going to be the future generation fighting this cause, which is what we need. It is actually very powerful what's going on today. Today's rally is not just about Kellogg's. It is about setting a new standard for health for our families in America. Together, we're sending a message loud and clear that our kids deserve better, and we won't stop fighting until they get it. Look at the power of one supermom, Bonnie Harley. Look what she's done. Taking on Starbucks, Subway, and now bringing us here to Kellogg's doorstep. Kellogg's and other corporations must understand American kids deserve the same high standards other countries have. Gary Pilnick, CEO of Kellogg's, Kellogg's employees, the rally is for all of our kids, but also for your kids. You can make health a part of your ingredient decisions in the boardroom the next time you meet, whether that's this afternoon if you're ignoring us and you're just trying not to come down, which you should, or this week, then please make these decisions. The truth is simple and it's right in front of us. Real food, real ingredients, minimize the chemicals. All our kids deserve safe, healthy food. Nothing less is acceptable.
All right, if you guys want to sit down, you can, but I love having you up here. Do you guys love seeing them up here? I also look forward to a day when they don't have to do this, right? That's the goal. And I can tell you, because I've had the privilege to travel around the world, this isn't like this in other countries. You can get this same exact product in other countries without these chemicals. So we need to keep raising our voices. The only reason it changed in other countries is because the consumer raised their voice. That's you. So keep signing the petitions, keep showing up, and hopefully their kids will not have to be doing this anymore. Next up we have Ileana Bala. She is the CEO, founder, and author. She has a combined degree in journalism and certification in integrative nutrition to uncover the truths behind our food system and educate others on a healthier lifestyle. Give it up.
All right, guys, I'm from Florida, so I'm really cold. So I'm gonna keep this short, but not so sweet, because we all know what we're here for. So thank you for being here today. And my name is Ileana Balai. I'm the author of a children's book named Yummy Colors, which helps children understand the benefits of certain fruits and vegetables based on their natural color. And I am the founder and CEO of Live Healthily, a marketplace that partners with small brands across the US to offer a wide variety of products without harmful additives. I've made it my mission to source and support companies that put people over profits. Brands, thank you. Brands that care deeply about what goes into their products and how it impacts the health of their customers. Some of these brands you may be familiar with, like Just Ingredients by the amazing Carolyn Call. I see you. Woo! Yeah, I see you guys know who she is. And Truvani by the incredible Vani Hari, the reason we're all here today. And I stand here today not as a major corporation, but as someone who sees firsthand that it is possible to create safe products even with fewer resources. Many small businesses, like some of the ones I work with, don't have massive budgets like Kellogg's, but they continue to prioritize safety and transparency because they care about the families who use their products. So why can't Kellogg's, with all its power and resources, do the same? Period. Kellogg's and other big food corporations spend over $11 billion every year on advertising in the United States, much of it targeted at children. Meanwhile, small brands that put health and safety first can barely get a fraction of that exposure, even though they are the ones creating the safe products without harmful additives. If smaller brands could rise to the challenge and put people first, then Kellogg's can and must do better. Now is the time we demand more from companies that have the means to make a real difference, because the health of our families should never come second to profit. We are asking for something very simple. No more shortcuts and no more excuses. Thank you guys so much.
Yes. Next up we have Jenny Urich. She is the CEO and founder of 1,000 Hours Outside, the global movement to reclaim childhood and reconnect with families. Here we go.
Well, I am from Michigan, so I am toasty warm. We are here with our 5 kids, honored to be here. They could raise their hands or wave. They're all here, 5 kids, ages 16 down to 8. This is a movement that is near and dear to our heart. I want to tell you about when I was growing up. When I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s, on Saturday mornings, there were cartoons. And those cartoons, they ended at noon, 12 o'clock on the dot. They were over, and then on Sunday, there was only WWF wrestling, and that was weird. And so I didn't want to watch that, and I had to go play. For decades upon decades in this country, there were societal guardrails for our children that no longer exist. I have heard from those who grew up in the 60s and the 70s that the biggest punishment that they could have received was that they had to stay inside. And so now those guardrails that were protecting our children are no more, and in fact, we see quite the opposite. We see a battle. We are here in Battle Creek. We see a battle backed by millions upon millions of dollars, waging war on the health and the well-being of our children. We are living in what Kim Jong-un says is the undeclared war on childhood, and our kids and their kids who are yet to come desperately need us to join the fight. We take our youngest children and we set them in desks and we give them worksheets, and when they can't sit still, we pump them full of pharmaceutical drugs. We feed them chemicals for breakfast, like the chemicals that are in Kellogg cereal, filled with food dye, and it makes their insides go haywire and their brains go mushy. And then, when they misbehave, we take away their recess, which is their only time for their bodies to move during the school day.
Let's go!
But kids are not supposed to sit still. They are supposed to move, because movement is what grows the brain. Movement grows the brain, and their bodies instinctively know that. We have put America's children in a lose-lose situation for far too long, and it is time for every single adult, parent or not, to step up for the innate right of having a childhood that is conducive to being a child. Our kids need 4 things, and we've got to give them to them. They need real food, they need real experiences, they need real human relationships, not through a screen and not with AI chatbots, and they need to read. In 1982, Neil Postman wrote a book called The Disappearance of Childhood. 1982, The Disappearance of Childhood, and he ended it with this. He said, "It is inconceivable as a culture that we will forget that we need children, but we are halfway to forgetting that children need childhood. And those who insist on remembering will perform a noble service. You are the ones who insist on remembering. Keep going."
The speakers today are not disappointing. Can you hold up your sign for me? Just hold it up. Look at this sign. Okay, if any volunteers want to read their sign, I'm going to give you a moment to read your sign. But hold your signs up high if you want to come up to the mic. Anyone want to come to the mic and read your sign? You want to read it?
Hey Kellogg's, my mama don't like you and she likes everyone.
See what happens when we use our voice? See what happens when we're brave? Yes. Okay, next up we have Rob Herring. He is the director of the award-winning documentary, The Need to Grow, and he is the co-founder of Earth Conscious Life, a newsletter reaching hundreds of thousands of global readers interested in regenerative solutions for people and the planet. Give it up for Rob.
Thank you. Such an honor to see you all. A bite of food is a blessing, not a burden. A bite of food is a blessing. However, a bite of chemical preservatives, artificial dyes, pesticides, and genetically engineered grains grown in synthetically fertilized, biologically dead dirt, that, unfortunately, is a burden. Media and health authorities funded by Big Food will defend nutritionally empty inflammatory ingredients, downplaying the links to hyperactivity, hormone disruption, reproductive harm, and even tumors in animal studies. They'll claim the science is never quite clear enough that you should stop using the products of their sponsors. How convenient. Sad and predictable as these food companies reach huge levels of profit financially, they all too often become bankrupt morally. So our real impact today is not about one company swapping ingredients, but in demonstrations like this of how an organized collaboration can raise awareness through non-divisive communication when we have a clear focus. We have over 400,000 signatures, but millions now have heard this message, and that is because of all of you. A desire to reduce chronic illness will never be an overreaction or an exaggeration, nor a political statement. So-called health experts may remain eerily disinterested in research pointing to root causes, but is ignorance bliss when, according to the CDC, now 1 in 7 boys is diagnosed with ADHD, a condition associated with these unnecessary, obsolete food ingredients. There are trillions of dollars to be made by ignoring preventative medicine, perpetuating this idea that your next diagnosis is simply inevitable. Sure, there are toxins, PFAs, pesticides, and more dissipated throughout our ecosystem. It can feel overwhelming. But there are brilliant minds with alternative solutions to clean our world and our bodies, and they are also scattered everywhere across the landscape, and they deserve our attention even more. Now, not everyone has a privilege of choice, but for many of us, we look for brands that don't require public outcry in order to embody basic ethics and transparency. This is the smaller, family-owned companies we need to look for, and most crucial of all, the local farmers. The more disconnected that we become from the farm itself and from nature as a whole, the more these centralized companies can exploit us. Food is our most consistent connection to nature. We must start seeing human health as a direct reflection of the health of the ecosystems from which we eat and that we reside within. Rather than these chemicals, preservatives, and dyes, it's time to start seeking the ingredients found in nature. Because we've all heard you are what you eat, and we are nature. Together we can return to a world where a bite of food is a blessing, no longer a burden. Thank you.
Yes. If you, kids, if you guys want to, you can sit in the front. If you're like, I'm tired of standing, you can, okay? So everything that you guys are doing, we are so grateful for you, but you know, you need a snack, something organic, hopefully, moms. Okay, you don't have to stand up here is what I'm saying, but we love you up here with us. Okay, so next up we have Courtney Swan. She is an integrative nutritionist, creator behind the account Real Foodology. She is the host of the top health and wellness podcast, Real Foodology, and a food activist on a mission to heal America's broken food system. Give it up for Courtney!
I'm a little bit tall for this. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us today. My name is Courtney Swan. I am the host of the Real Foodology podcast, and I am tired of being misled and manipulated about our food. I'm tired of companies compromising our health for profit. It is not woo-woo to want better for our kids. It is not anti-science to demand the same standards already being enforced in other countries. It is not crazy to expect better for Americans. Although I understand Kellogg's cereal is not healthy food, even with the removal of these artificial dyes, this is about progress. It's about demanding better. We won't accept dyes that are known to harm us and serve no nutritional value, only cosmetic value. 15.5 million children are fed this cereal every day at schools. If we can lessen their toxic burden by removing the artificial dyes, then we're moving in the right direction. It's also about the momentum that we're creating. Today we tackle the artificial dyes. Consumers have more power than we think. Sales have been growing steadily since 2000. Consumers demanded better food. We have to demand better. Change begins when we speak up. Every voice here counts because together we build a movement. Just look at everyone to make changes. Put your money into companies and brands that are creating food with your health in mind. Change happens when we no longer settle for low standards. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna keep it going. Woo, yeah, I'm short. We're gonna keep it going with Dr. Will Cole, leading functional medicine expert, New York Times bestselling author, and host of the Art of Being Well podcast. Give it up for Dr. Will Cole.
Yeah, I think so. What's up, Michigan? Man, this is a blessing to be a part of this, isn't it? A time like this. I am Will Cole. I started the first functional medicine telehealth center over 15 years ago at this point. Because of this, I've had the unique and rare opportunity to help people around the world reclaim their health. People from all walks of life struggling with autoimmune, metabolic, hormonal, fertility, and mental health issues. We have to realize that just because something's common doesn't make it normal. Just because some things are everyday doesn't mean we should settle for it. A staggering 1 in 5 American children, that's 15 million kids, have a diagnosable mental, emotional, or behavioral disorder. Common, not normal. It's estimated that the average young adult today has the same level of anxiety and depression as the average psychiatric patient had in the 1950s. Common, not normal. It's estimated that we have about 3 times, the average person has 3 times the chance of being diagnosed with an autoimmune disease than that same age group had then in just the 1980s. Common, not normal. We talked about the rise of metabolic disease. Type 2 diabetes was called what? Adult onset, right? Now an increasing number of young adults have massive metabolic problems. Just because it's our everyday doesn't mean we should settle for it. Am I right? To the corporate leaders at Kellogg's. Corporations are made up of people. People with families. Families with these same health issues. Because chronic disease doesn't care how much is in your bank account. So much so that I would venture to assume that the average person at the top of Kellogg's doesn't often buy or feed their family the cereals they're putting in the grocery aisles. Would you assume that? Because they know what's in those foods. But many Americans, millions of Americans, don't know. You all know, but you all have friends and family that just don't know because they've been systemically marketed to and lied to and sold addictive foods for themselves and their children. And even if they did know better, they're struggling to afford real food. Yep. To the mainstream media and social media algorithm curators that are watching this and will watch this on replay, you are complicit in all of this. Instead of speaking the truth, instead of advocating for the American people, of speaking truth to power and respecting free speech, you censor and spin the truth to protect the system that is perpetuating these atrocities. Am I right? Start to earn back the respect of the American people by allowing diversity of thought to flourish again. To Washington, our leaders in Washington, the things you should be protecting us from, you protect it instead. To the things that would protect us, you demonize and want us to fear. Let's go! During the pandemic, you shut down small businesses. You locked down the people over a virus that killed a fraction of the people that die every single year from the chronic diseases that are fed by the food and the pharmaceuticals that you shove down our throats. To the American people, vote with your wallet. Vote in this upcoming election. Because we cannot depend on multinational corporations and the government to care more for our health than you do. To those who've been systematically medically gaslit with chronic diseases, you're not crazy. You know your body. You're not alone. If the American government, if the media aren't going to be honest and protect the American people, then we will. Now we have power. You okay, buddy? Now we have powerhouse voices in Hollywood shedding light on our cause, like the Kardashians. Kim Kardashian gets people free that are unjustly put in prison because they were unjustly put in reforming criminal justice. Well, we're here to free the American people from the bondage of chronic disease. Reforming the food industry, reforming the health industry, one toxic ingredient at a time. Getting healthy on our own terms is a radical act today in a system that feeds its own health problems. But there is a peaceful revolution of ideas here today from a growingly informed populace looking for the whole truth and nothing but the truth for their health. The most dangerous kind. Thank you all.
Take a moment right now. There's a drone in the sky. I want everyone to put your hands up if you're here. Get your hands up and say, Kellogg's, let us in. Let's do it on 3 one more time. 1, 2, 3. Kellogg's, let us in. Hopefully you got that footage. I'm going to bring up 4 more speakers, so whatever you gotta do, you gotta stand up, you gotta keep the energy going. We saved, of course, Vani for the end, so please don't go anywhere. I know it's cold for some of you, there's sun over here. Keep the energy up, we love you. Thank you for being here, really. Like this is, can we just all like pat ourselves on the back? We're on the right side of history today. Okay. Next up we have Liana Werner Gray. She is a cancer nutritionist and author of Cancer Free with Food, one of the top 100 cancer books of all time. You probably know her at The Earth Diet. Give it up for Liana!
Thank you so much for being here. I know that God wants to use all of our voices in this mission. Yes. I am from Australia, but I have been living in the States for 15 years. I am a dual citizen, so here to represent and a part of this mission for the last 15 years. So every hour, 70 people die from cancer in the United States. 70. Tragically, 2 of those are children. That's over 17,000 children who die a year from cancer. The statistics are heart-wrenching, and yet toxic ingredients like BHT, a known carcinogen, it's not even up for debate, it's a known, proven carcinogen, are still allowed in products that we feed our families, like the cereal that we eat for breakfast. I grew up in Australia eating Kellogg cereal. We always had it in our household and everyone loved it. But at 21, I was diagnosed with a golf ball sized tumor in my lymphatic system, early stages of cancer. The only way that cancer reaches your lymphatic system is by flooding your body with too many toxins, as it's the body's sewage system. As I dove into research, I realized that the foods I was eating contained carcinogenic ingredients. I healed through detox and nutrition alone. No surgery, no chemo. But of the fortunate ones. Sadly, millions of people will not have the same chance. I am outraged by everyone at Kellogg's and the FDA who allows this to happen. You are feeding children carcinogenic ingredients and contributing to the cancer epidemic, especially among children. The people want to ask you, how is this okay to feed this to children? We can't stand by while corporations put profits over people. It's time for us to demand change, to protect our health, and to ensure a safer future for our children. Together, we must put an end to this toxic legacy and this great tragedy. I've noticed multiple posts published on this topic recently on Instagram, Facebook, and X, and one in particular by @known1cw, raising the question, is this negligence or is this murder?
I can't tell you what an honor it is to be up here amongst these heroes and sheroes and amongst all of you. So thank you for holding the space. Thank you for being here. Thank you, kids. Again, if you want to sit, you can. You can sit even in front. Just keep bringing that energy. We love you. We're here for you. Callie Means is up next. Callie Means is the co-founder of TrueMed, which enables HSA, FSA spending on healthy food and exercise. He is also the co-author of the #1 New York Times bestseller, Good Energy. Give him some good energy.
Do we feel a movement growing here? I've got a message to the kids. There's some depressing things being said today, but I want to be really clear. I want you guys to know this. What's happening here today is what makes America great. We have politicians, we have Democrats, we have Republicans, we have investors, we have doctors, we have activists. We are savaging our institutions. We're calling them out, but this is by design. This is the greatness of our system right here. The greatest invention of America was the First Amendment, free speech. America invented that idea because we realized that throughout all of human history, institutions inevitably turn to selfishness, they turn to corruption. And to combat that, we need to be able to speak freely and call institutions out, which we're doing today. The people at Kellogg's, they're good people. I like to just not get into conspiracy, just talk about the facts. And the facts are our institutions that are larger than any one person has just lost its way. We talked about the statistics. But although this is optimistic, what's happening here today, we are on the verge of an existential threat. Our society cannot go on. No other issue matters if 50% of teens are overweight or obese. That is 3% in Japan. This is a uniquely American issue. 20% of kids having fatty liver disease. I think parents and kids, I'm sure you see it, there's something not right in America right now. And it is so important to call this out. I think what's optimistic about this is nobody at Kellogg's wants this. They didn't do this, but just as a simple fact, the processed food industry was created very deliberately by the cigarette industry. Few people know this, but in 1990, the 2 largest food companies in the world were cigarette companies. They bought up the food companies. They created this paradigm where they capture our institutions just by definition. 19 out of the 20 USDA nutrition advisors are paid for by these companies like Kellogg's. And they lobby for 10,000 chemicals in our food that are we don't even know if they're unhealthy. They lobby for standards where it's wait and see, it's self-policing. We don't even have to prove whether these chemicals are harmful or not. And we're learning again and again these chemicals are harmful. And that has led to the chronic disease crisis. A chronic disease crisis where the medical system has stood silent because just as a simple statement of economic fact, our health institutions profit when children are sick. These are just economic realities. But a movement is building. A movement is building. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants this. We've got presidential candidates talking about the poison in our food. We've got moms and parents and kids activating. We're talking about it. Now, this change comes from many different ways, and trust me, we're working on the politicians, and we need top-down change, but we also need corporate responsibility. Kellogg's talks a lot about corporate responsibility. They donate to Kellogg's Foundation. We just drove by it. It's a big building. They donate hundreds of millions of dollars to talk about social justice. Well, Kellogg's can do something right now. It can lead. It can take these toxic ingredients out of their food. Let's let our voices be heard. And Kellogg's, let's do the right thing. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, next up is Jason Karp. He is the founder and CEO of Human Co. I know you know that chocolate. A mission-driven company that builds brands focused on healthier living. In addition to Human Co., Jason is the co-founder of Hugh Kitchen. Yes. Known for creating the #1 premium organic chocolate in the U.S. Prior to Human Co., Jason spent over 21 years in the hedge fund industry, where he was the founder and CEO of an investment fund that managed over $4 billion. Give it up for Jason Karp.
Thank you all. I'm so proud of everyone who showed up for this. This is amazing. I am a recovering businessman and investor, and I chose to retire from that industry and to spend all of my waking time on making America healthy again. The majority of Americans don't even know that they're constantly exposed to thousands of untested ingredients that are actually banned or regulated in other countries. For the last 50 years, the FDA has been running the largest uncontrolled science experiment ever done on humanity without our consent. American families deserve the safest, cleanest versions of products that all of these companies already make. Since our Senate panel on September 23rd, there have been a few topics that have come up that I wanted to address. Number one, this is not a partisan issue. Protecting people from poisoning our food supply is not a Republican or Democratic issue. We are all children of Mother Earth. We are all brothers and sisters. We should all protect each other regardless of our political beliefs. We must put the health of our people over profit and politics. Number two, we are not advocating eating processed sugar cereal. Many have said that the European version of Fruit Loops is also unhealthy, so just don't eat any of it. Just because something is harmful doesn't mean we shouldn't address something that's more harmful. Obviously, heroin is bad, but heroin laced with fentanyl is far worse. Whether we like it or not, Americans are eating billions of dollars of processed sugar cereal every year, and we have to meet people where they are. If people are going to eat cereal, shouldn't big companies like Kellogg offer a less toxic version? Number three, this issue disproportionately affects lower income communities. And while many of us are fighting to change this, many do not have the luxury or the choice of avoiding these highly processed products. The more toxic American version of these products are served in schools as part of breakfast and lunch programs where kids simply need to eat. Children in need should not be subjected to this when Kellogg already makes a more natural version. And number four, we don't need conclusive studies to know that consumers don't want artificial food dyes in our food. While there is an overwhelming amount of peer-reviewed science demonstrating that food dyes are harmful, and obviously many of these other developed countries have put in these bans and these regulations for a reason, we don't even need to debate this. Why? because American families didn't ask for this, and now that we're waking up, we know that we don't want this. If given the choice and the transparency between artificial food dyes and natural food colorants, no one would choose the artificial ones except the unknowing children and the companies who profit from it. The fastest way to get companies to change is to boycott with your wallet and to use your voice as a force for good. With your shopping, you can reward companies who are doing right, and you can punish those doing wrong. You have much more power than you realize, and history shows that companies do indeed change when consumers demand it. Kellogg, if you are listening, we are not your enemies. We are here to help you do the right thing, and I am happy to consult for you for free to help you change. Our activism here today is much bigger than Kellogg, and we are going to systematically after more companies, and we're going to stop this great American poisoning. We are just getting started. We here today, we are all brothers and sisters, and we have a moral obligation to heal each other and to heal our planet. I am so proud to call all of you our partners, and may God bless all of you. Thank you.
Okay, are you guys ready to march? Because after our last speaker, we are going to march. How many of you here are with the Food Babe Army? Okay, we're gonna march peacefully, Army. So get your feet ready, okay? Because we're going to Kellogg's after we hear from the one and only Vani Hari, aka the Food Babe. I have the pleasure of calling Vani not only my ally in the food movement. We've been working together for 12 years. A lot of me behind the scenes being like, do this, and her being like, okay. And so those are the conversations that we have. But she has lit a spark in me so many times as a friend to show up, to stand up, to be brave. I mean, I don't know a braver person than Bonnie. You know, like this is a pleasure. This is a joy. I can't tell you I haven't slept for a couple days just to get here. And I gotta tell you, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world than right here with all of you and with my friend Vani Hari. And, oop, let's not eat the microphone. So, real quick, I want to tell you about her if you don't know, if you're new to the Food Babe Army. She is a food activist. Hold on, let's fix the mic, because let's really give her her full moment when I'm not swallowing the mic. Okay. Tall people. Okay, so, Food Babe. She is a food activist. Are you a food activist? You are now, baby. Okay, so she is a food activist, a New York Times best-selling author, founder of the organic food brand Truvani, and was named one of the most influential people on the internet by Times Magazine. Vani has influenced how major food giants like Kraft, Subway, Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, and Starbucks create their products. She's been steering them towards more healthful policies for a long time, and she can't do it without you. Give it up for Vani Hari!
Wow. What a moment to be here right now. Wow. I do not feel alone anymore.
We're just steps away from Kellogg's front door. Thank you for everyone for being here. Let me tell you why I'm here. Okay, you can't hear me because I'm about to cry. All right, I'll speak up. I'll speak up. Let me tell you why I'm here. I'm here for the little girl that used to be me. The little girl who was suffering and sick all the time on so many prescription drugs. The little girl who had eczema all over her face and body. The little girl who didn't want to go outside or play sports because my chest would give in from asthma. I'm here for my mother-in-law who died of ovarian cancer. I'm here for my best friend's dad who died from exposure to Agent Orange. I'm here for my best friend Anna who just died from breast cancer. I'm here for the mom, all the moms who struggle to feed their children healthy food without added chemicals. I'm here for the countless parents who have children with ADHD and are looking for answers. I'm here for all Americans who don't know the truth about our food industry. That there's over 10,000 chemicals allowed in our food system here in the United States, while in Europe, they only have 400 approved for use. That they're eating artificial food dye that's made from coal tar and petroleum, and it's linked to cancer. I've been fighting for this for so long. Back in 2013, right after I quit my job to become a food activist, which, by the way, one of my jobs before the one that I quit actually was a job here in Michigan. And I was traveling to and from to Detroit, Michigan. So Michigan's so near and dear to my heart because this is where Food Babe was born. Yes, it was right here in Royal Oak, actually Royal Oak at In Season Cafe, if anybody remembers it. Good times.
Michigan loves you back.
Thank you, thank you.
Michigan loves you too.
So back in 2013, right after I became a food activist full-time, I found out that American food companies were selling safer versions of their exact same food products for other countries overseas, while selling us the more toxic version. They were using ingredients that are heavily regulated or banned in the products here in the United States, but not in the same exact product overseas. And this made me so mad. I had to do something about it. So I started a petition to ask Kraft to remove artificial food dyes from mac and cheese. I ended up gathering 270,000 petitions. I didn't have a Food Babe army back then, but I went to Kraft's headquarters and demanded a meeting. There's probably 10 people that came with me. Look at all of you here today. Oh my gosh. I just want to say again, I don't feel alone anymore. And you know what? They let me in the doors that day. They sat down with me and they looked me in the eye. They couldn't really answer most of my questions, but they looked me in the eye and they said, "We have to agree to disagree." So I left that day and they didn't change anything. However, you know what happened next? The petition grew even bigger. And the delivery of those petitions created so much widespread awareness that they changed their minds. They announced they would drop dyes. They announced it, right? They did it. And that's what we're going to do here today. right now, we have over 400,000 petitions to deliver to Kellogg's today. 400,000. This will be the biggest petition ever collected, taking on the food industry. Kellogg's, if you're listening, please let us in. You cannot turn your back on this many voices. Right over the border, there's a box of Fruit Loops from Canada that's colored naturally with carrot juice, blueberry juice, and watermelon juice. The American version has 4 different artificial food dyes and the preservative BHT, which is an endocrine disrupting chemical linked to cancer. In 2015, Kellogg's announced plans to remove these dyes by their cereals by the end of 2018, but they never did. They lied to us. It's been almost 10 years since Kellogg's told the world they were going to get rid of artificial dyes and BHT from their cereals. And instead, the same cereals that they make in other countries without BHT and dyes continue to be sold, and they still keep producing new cereals for us here in the United States with dyes and preservatives, using the most popular toddler songs to hook modern kids of today, like Disney's Little Mermaid, Baby Shark, Peeps, Elf on the Shelf, and the latest Squishmallows, a stuffed animal that lies on my kids' beds at night. And no one is holding them accountable, but that's why we're here today. Because we, the American people, have to do this now. Our food is just that poisoned, and it's up to us. I am so grateful to be in this fight with you, all of you who are standing toe to toe with me. I'll never forget your courage, your tenacity. I'll never forget it. I'm deeply touched by the support and camaraderie that we have here together today, and that all of you came here to Battle Creek. Some of you flying and driving all over the country. You dropped everything to be here. I am so grateful. This is a monumental moment. We are going to march to Kellogg's to deliver over 400,000 voices and demand they meet with us. It's time for Kellogg's to do the right thing for American families. We deserve the same, safer cereals other countries get. Now everyone. Now everyone, you ready to march? The time is now.
Grab everything you brought. We are about to march. We're going to carry 400,000 petitions. Who's coming with us? Thank you all.
You want me to carry this for you? Oh my god. You okay?
I kind of want to use eugenics, so I just think it's funny. I think it's just kind of don't go by their stuff. Whatever. I don't think I can go by their stuff. Cash and I matched it, but my hat was
You did great up here. It was wonderful.
Thank you for letting
I was trying to text Brad too. I was like, I don't need to say anything. He texted me and he's like,
Came just in time. No, we'll keep you guys in the loop too. So we have fantastic start.
Well, with him coming from the lobby and her graduating top of her class at Stanford, like that's yeah. I talk to any doctor now and I'll be like, excuse me, I don't care what you have to say. Did you graduate top of your class at Stanford? No, you didn't. So I'm going to trust what I heard from them. Thank you. She doesn't mean your intentions are bad, but you need to open your eyes. That's what it takes. And those two have spoken.
I'm not cheap for everybody. I'm not
I'm so proud of you.
Oh my God, I'm so Honey, have fun. Judy, thank you so much.
Thank you. Beautiful for your work. Thank you. Thank you. I'm behind you. All right.
They're really heavy ones.
Are you? Thank you so much.
Yeah, that works.
Thank you. Yeah,
Good testimony.
Wow.
It's awesome. It's worked. It's grown from 10 people. It's so inspiring.
And I think all of us who were involved probably. We all have a lot of You know, I've had a bunch of different legislation on a bunch of different topics, and we're working with everything else I've done.
I'm super proud of it. Yeah. So thank you. One of the things too we were talking hired a lobbyist to stop that. Been part of the movement for a couple decades. My son almost died. Yes, yeah. Well, you've been talking to May a lot too, so dived into stuff. He's good now, but you know, it wasn't without our efforts in the medical system. You know, because we dived right into health. I started studying stuff right away since I was younger. You know.
Thank you so much for everything that you're doing.
Yep.
Thank you.
I do what I can do, but we all can do more.
And then have you ever seen a
I've been
bullhorn
studying
with
so deep. I've challenged every doctor in the world. Hey, can I continue there? Yeah, bless you so much. What's your name? Remember, no sun worship. That's my native name. No sun worship. I'm from Canada. Really nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. I do a lot of forms. Yeah, amazing. No sun worship. I do a lot of work. Okay. Well, you ready?
I gotta go to work. I can't.
because we've had enough. And
job.
Okay, someone
Who's leading the way?
Someone run down there and make sure.
You're good.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
It's harder than it looks. Appreciate you so much.